Hello and welcome to Anywhere But Here. In this video, we're going to visit the Great Lakes State. We evaluated things like crime, education, unemployment, income, and overall safety to determine the 10 worst places to live. Welcome to the 10 worst cities in Michigan. Coming in at number 10, Hamtramck. Hamtramck is on this list for one reason: poverty. Of Hamtramck's 21,000 residents, nearly 50% live at or below the poverty line. One of GM's premier assembly plants is located in Hamtramck. Unfortunately, it closed in 2019. It's supposed to reopen and start producing electric trucks, and that can't happen soon enough. Crime in Hamtramck is slightly worse than Michigan as a whole, but is nowhere near as bad as some of the other cities on this list. Coming in at number 9, Ecorse. Just over 9,000 people reside in Ecorse, Michigan, and of them, about 1/3 live at or below the poverty line. Even though crime has been steadily declining here since 2016, one statistic jumps out. There are a lot of registered sex offenders living in Ecorse, 75 of them as of December 2020. That means that 1 in 122 residents is a sex offender, almost 3 times the ratio in Wayne County as a whole. And in 2019, the website 24/7 Wall Street put out a list of the 50 worst cities to live in the U.S., and Ecorse was number 43, citing violent crime, poverty, and low home values as the main reasons. Number 8, Ypsilanti. In 1960, Domino's Pizza was founded in Ypsilanti, so that's good. The current population of Ypsilanti is a little over 20,000 people, and overall, about 31% of them live in poverty. And similar to Ecorse, they also have a problem with registered sex offenders, with 386 of them being residents of Ypsi. Your chance of being a victim of a violent crime is 1 in 105, and Ypsilanti is currently less safe than 94% of all U.S. cities. FBI crime statistics show there were 4 murders and 26 rapes in 2019. And finally, Ypsilanti Public Schools test scores are 27% below the national average. The best reason people have for living in Ypsilanti is that it's a lot cheaper than living in neighboring Ann Arbor. Number 7, Saginaw. In the 60s and 70s, Saginaw was home to several GM factories, and the city was booming. But by the early 80s, many began to close. By 1990, Saginaw's population had declined by 30%, and the city was seeing increasing crime and unemployment. So many people left so fast, the city estimated that a few years ago there were over 1,200 abandoned homes in Saginaw that needed to be demolished. 28.5% of the people in Saginaw live at or below the poverty line. And FBI crime statistics show over 700 violent crimes in 2019, including 9 murders. Residents of Saginaw have a 1 in 60 chance of being the victim of a violent crime. Number 6, Muskegon Heights. Muskegon Heights is another Michigan city on the list of the 50 worst places to live in America. It was number 19. Crime, poverty, lack of jobs, and poor education all contribute to the misery of Muskegon Heights. Per capita income is $14,451 per year, which is really low, even for Michigan. 39% of its residents live at or below the poverty line, which puts it in the bottom 10% in the nation. Even with its small population, there were 232 violent crimes, including 5 murders in 2019. Muskegon Heights residents have a 1 in 44 chance of being the victim of a violent crime. The crime rate is so bad here that it ranks in the bottom 1% of safe cities in the entire United States. Number 5, Pontiac. Pontiac was once such a great place, they named a car after it. It even once hosted a Super Bowl. Now, it's not so great. In 2019, Pontiac's 59,000 residents had a 1 in 74 chance of being the victim of one of the 769 violent crimes committed there, including 10 murders. Like most of the cities on this list, Pontiac is in the top 10% of the most dangerous cities in the United States. Per capita income in Pontiac is $15,482, and over 22% of its residents live below the poverty line. Pontiac's financial troubles were so great by 2009, the city was placed under an emergency financial manager that shut down the police department and the fire department. They sold off city assets like parking meters and the water treatment facility, and they even sold the Silver Dome for $583,000. You can't even buy a 3-bedroom house in most of California for that much. Number 4, Benton Harbor. We normally don't like to put cities with populations lower than 10,000 on our lists, but Benton Harbor deserves an exception. Why? Well, it's a horrible place to live. On the 24/7 Wall Street list of the 50 worst places to live in the U.S., Benton Harbor was number 20. Poverty rate is high, almost 50%. Crime is high, 190 violent crimes, including 3 murders. That's a 1 in 45 chance of being a victim of violent crime. And that makes it the most dangerous city in Michigan, and one of the most dangerous cities in the entire United States. Number 3, Detroit. Detroit makes this list because it's by far the worst large city in the United States, based on almost every metric. Medium home values are below 50,000, which puts it in the bottom 10% nationally. The poverty rate is almost 40%, which puts it in the top 10%. And with over 2,000 violent crimes per 100,000 residents, it's one of the most dangerous cities in America. In 1950, Detroit had a population of almost 2 million people. By 1990, it was down to 1 million. Currently, it's under 700,000. The mass exodus was due to the declining auto industry primarily. Fortunately, population numbers have slowly started to increase, as have incomes and property values. Detroit is headed in the right direction, but as of today, it's still pretty crappy. Number 2, Flint. Flint, Michigan became famous a few years ago when the city changed its drinking water source and essentially poisoned most of its residents. We couldn't sum it up any better than Flint's Wikipedia page, which says, Flint has suffered from disinvestment, disindustrialization, depopulation, urban decay, as well as high rates of crime, unemployment, and poverty. The poverty rate is 40%. Median home values are $30,000, and residents have a 1 in 55 chance of being a victim of a violent crime, making it more dangerous than 90% of U.S. cities. Flint sits at number 11 on 24/7 Wall Street's list of the 50 worst places to live in the U.S., and it's only the second worst place in Michigan. Before we get to number 1, let's take a minute to look at the cities that almost were terrible enough to make the list, the dishonorable mentions. They include Jackson, River Rouge, Gaylord, Albion, and Battle Creek. Better luck next year, guys. And the number 1 worst city in Michigan? Highland Park. Highland Park has been described as the poorest city in America, with an annual household income of only $15,699 a year. By comparison, the national median is about $57,000. The poverty rate is 49%. Highland Park is so poor, in 2011, the city removed most of its streetlights because it couldn't afford the electric bill. The city of Detroit had to sue Highland Park for not paying its water and sewer bill. Highland Park is so bad, it's known as the Detroit of Detroit. There's only about 10,000 residents left, and over the years, they have asked several times to be annexed into the city of Detroit, but Detroit has declined, saying that they are uninterested in adding more crime, blight, and desperately poor people. And for those of you wondering where Highland Park is on the list of the 50 worst places to live in the U.S., well, it's number 5, which I guess is good news because that means there are 4 places in America that are worse than Highland Park. Well, we hope you've enjoyed our list of the 10 worst places to live in Michigan. If there are any cities you think we missed or cities you don't think should be on the list, let us know in the comments section and we'll give it a closer look next year. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Have fun and take care.